Well, they finally did it, and I had a chance to check it out. Here we go. So, I had a chance to check out one of the new Gibson amps, the Falcon 5. Now they call it the Falcon 5 because, of course, it's a 7-watt combo amp with a 10-inch Jensen Blackbird, which is a excellent speaker choice. And that kind of gives it away because I really liked this amp a lot. There it goes. There you go. That's my take on it. So I got a chance to play this at a local music store who got it in, had them like right after the release, and I couldn't get there. It took me a couple days to get there. So I had to like guerrilla style get some of this footage. It is on a cell phone, and it's cell phone audio. So please don't take this as like, stuff that I record with a microphone in this controlled room here in the studio. So it's not that. Okay? It's not that. But it will give you a flavor of what the amp can do. Now, in watching the materials that Gibson put out, the videos, I should say, that Gibson put out, I was like, I don't know if I really like this amp. Like, it just sounded a little honky, but in actually playing it in the room, it does have a little bit of that upper mid-range. The rest of it fills out. Now, it's not, I got my Fender Twin behind me. It's not going to sound as big as a Fender Twin. And it definitely is a 50s tweed-ish with just a little more, like, high mids. So if you think of a tweed and then just give it like a high mid boost, that's what this amp, that's the vibe of this amp. There's not a ton of low end, but there is enough to when you play it by yourself that it still feels full. But man, does it have a vibe. I have not heard it with single coils. That video might be out there. Actually, I'm sure if Reverb did a video that they ran single coils through it, but I hadn't heard that. And so when I was there, it wasn't this guitar, but it was a Fender Telecaster original series. Hot take, the Gibson amps sound better with Fender single coils than humbuckers. Hot take, but man, did it sound good. I also think in the Gibson videos, they had it gained up too much, and they had the control on it says bass on one side and treble on the other. So I don't know exactly how that tone control is mapped. But I think when the Gibson did their video, they had the treble up way too much, which gives it, but really when it says treble and bass, it's really high mid, low mid. So if you want something a little fatter, you turn it down. There's not a big sweep on the tone knob. The amp kind of sounds like how it sounds like, but it really was never muddy. The reverb sounds great. And the thing's got plenty of gain, but it does clean up. Not a ton of headroom. It's a 7-watt amp, so you're not going to get a ton of headroom. But it does clean up pretty good. And I use the half power switch, and I have the same opinion of that as I do every half power switch, and is that they're kind of pointless on low powered amps. Now on my higher powered amps, like 500 watt amp, having a half power switch to knock that down to 50 watts allows me to put it into a wider variety of speakers. So like I could do a 212 with 25 watt greenbacks in them, for example, rather than run it through a 412 to get a different sound. So on those amps, I understand a half power switch. On these small amps, it's an absolute waste of time. And sure, it does knock it down a little bit, like it's quieter, and it does like cut the headroom, but not by a lot. It's really not that significant, which is in keeping with every small amp that I've ever played that has a half power switch. So I think those are fair. Just give a good master volume. Just give a good master volume. That's all you need. You don't need a half power switch. But this amp does not have a master volume. But what it does have is speaker outputs. You have two 4-ohm speaker outputs and then one 8-ohm. Now the 8-ohm is being used by the Jensen speaker, but it's like a regular jack. So you could just unplug that jack and then plug that into whatever cabinet you wanted to get different sounds and use it. And frankly, it's small enough to use as a head, really, if you wanted to run it into bigger cabinets or run it into a 12-inch speaker to get a little bit more out of that or get different tones. You absolutely could do that. So at $1,500, listen, guys, I just couldn't afford to bring it home. I have other expenditures that I have to do, and Gibson's not sending me one. I would love it if they did, but they're not. With that being said, like and subscribe, and let's try to push this channel forward so we can get it monetized so I can buy all this new gear and, you know, bring it in without, like, you know, losing my house, basically. So what I'm going to do next here is play the samples. So I'm going to do the first one here. These are some sounds that I got with a Tele. Just real quick. Here's the Tele. Here, I mean, and that's why you clicked on the video, is to hear the Tele through the Gibson amp. So here you go. Good job, Gibson and Mesa Boogie. I said this is the easiest Mesa Boogie I've ever used. So next, I mean, you've heard it in other videos, I'm sure, but I got a Les Paul. It's like a modern Les Paul, Gibson Les Paul modern or something like that. It had like a blue finish. It's pretty cool. I like that guitar. It was a good guitar. But here it is with a Les Paul and humbuckers. All right, so there you go. That's my impressions of the Falcon 5. Like I said, right now I couldn't afford to bring one home. But if I can in the future, I will give it a full and proper review and kind of go through the knobs and all of that good stuff. So, again, thanks for watching, like and subscribe and all the YouTube stuff. And maybe check out this video here, maybe it's over here, with me talking about Les Pauls at different price points. And so, thank you very much for watching, and remember, it's always about the song. Peace.